Did you ever feel pressure to socialize? Did anyone ever tell you that you are too isolated from life and that you'd be much happier if you got to go out and network, make friends, whatever? And did you feel that somehow you just don't belong to that global networking situation, you don't fit in? If yes, welcome to my Loner Club. Hey my friends, if you're new here, I'm Anna and this is my channel, which is about everything that is mindful and creative. And today I want to talk about one of the most sensitive topics for me, that is being a loner in the world that constantly pushes you to network and socialize. And with this video, I want to kind of break the stigma of being a loner. I want to break some of the misconceptions, or at least try to. So you see, on this channel I talk a lot about minimalism, and for me personally, minimalism is not only about material possessions, but about human interactions as well. In my offline life, I'm pretty much of a hermit or a mouse that likes to stay cozy and away from the crowd. I haven't accepted my loner personality for a while, and it's been just a couple of years since I finally embraced it and stopped judging myself. In this video, I will share my subjective opinion that can be completely different from other people's perspectives, and it's not an academic work or anything, it's just an honest insight into my personal experience. Please feel free to share what you think in the comment section and tell me if you find such topics a little bit on the heavy side or not. I want to hear your opinion. So first, what's a loner? According to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, it's the one that avoids others, such as a person who is often alone or likes to be alone, someone who usually avoids the company of others. I found several classifications of loners, such as intentional positive loner, intentional negative loner, unintentional loner, and short-term loner. According to this classification, I'm going to talk about intentional positive loner. Okay, so let's dive in. Stereotypes have it that loners are often hateful, misanthropic, and care only about themselves. But, well, to tell you the truth, some of my family members still are pretty sure that I'm somewhat misanthropic. But I don't agree with this opinion. I still have a hard time accepting humanity on the whole, but as a disclaimer, after meeting such a community here on YouTube, my love to kind and thoughtful, strong and open-minded individuals and humans has completely revived, and I'm so happy about it. And I'm pretty sure you can somehow relate to this. Every day we get exposed to such a huge number of unpleasant individuals, both offline and online, that it's pretty hard not to have any misanthropic feelings. And for me, in a way, being a loner helps cope with this. That's why I prefer to be self-employed and earn much less money than I would on a regular 9-to-5 job. That's why I can't deal with teaching anymore, and my skin ain't thick, and for protection I prefer to have more time alone. There were a lot of situations in my life when I would immediately dislike someone, but then saw a real person in them, a living one. I don't know, like a real one. And then my attitude would absolutely change. In spiritual language, that would sound like seeing the soul shine through. But still, there have been a lot of people in who I could see nothing. And it doesn't mean that they're bad or something. It's I'm just trying my best not to be judgmental and not to be misanthropic in any way, because you see, loners are not are not hateful. Maybe they're just more picky and careful. Amazing Bella Lugosi put it perfectly. I guess I'm pretty much of a lone wolf. I don't say I don't like people at all, but to tell you the truth, I only like it then if I have a chance to look deep into their hearts and their minds. Due to my high sensitivity, I feel people a lot, and their emotions influence me even on the physical level, which is sometimes pretty hard to bear. When I lived in Moscow, I taught myself to use a thick and senseless shield to protect my mind, but that way I grew a bit isolated, and I don't like to feel isolated from the world. Isolation and being alone are different, at least for me. When you're alone, you're mindful of your own self and not overpowered, not stressed, not constricted in any way. You interact with the world on a deeper, more intuitive level, and you are free from any influences. Well, almost, because of course we all have a great deal of susceptibility and dependence in ourselves, but it's a whole another topic to discuss. Isolation is a voluntary act of setting yourself apart from the world with its people, events, ideas, and the whole movement of life. There's a short novel by a Russian classic, Anton Chekhov, which is called The Man in a Case, which is about complete isolation of the mind as well as the body. And if being alone can liberate oneself, isolation can become a prison for oneself. And I managed to find a really great quote from that novel in English. And isn't our living in town, airless and crowded, our writing useless papers, our plain wind, isn't that all a sort of case for us? And our spending our whole lives among trivial fussy men and silly idle women, our talking and our listening to all sorts of nonsense, isn't that a case for us too? So you see, isolation does not necessarily presuppose or mean being alone. It can happen in the crowd, in the most sociable flow that can be imagined. Loners and loneliness. I'm a loner, but I'm not suffering from loneliness. I mean, I enjoy being alone, making art, writing, working with texts, but I'm not miserable. I'm a loner, but I'm happily married and I love my husband. We haven't seen each other for 2 years by now because of the whole global craziness, but we never felt lonely from afar. I'm a loner, but I have a few friends, very few, and most of who are my family. Since I was little, I knew I was expected to have friends. My mom would force me to go outside and play with kids next door. And I tried, I did my best, but those childhood friendships never grew into something real. My school and university friends were also left behind the wheels of life. And I moved a lot from Siberia to Moscow, from Moscow to Siberia, from Siberia to the Republic of Georgia, and then back. And everywhere I met beautiful, kind, and interesting people who I thought we would stay friends forever, but it never happened. We just grew apart eventually. And I didn't have any regrets about that. I mean, like, I naturally didn't and don't feel sad parting with people. And from social expectations, I somehow knew that it wasn't right. And I always doubted myself, asked myself whether I was a huge misfit. And please don't get me wrong, I'm not dramatic about this situation. It's just super interesting to me why it happens. Any ideas? The saddest and utterly beautiful fable of the Little Prince says, "Where are the people?" resumed the little prince at last. It's a little lonely in the desert. It is lonely when you are among people too, said the snake. Loners and the fear of life. It might seem that loners are somehow afraid of living, interacting, feeling, and so on, but it's not true. The overwhelming majority of human relations include a lot of drama, action, and that very special fuss of life. And loners often prefer to keep away from it, and not because they're afraid. Well, at least it's true for me, and here I'm talking on behalf of all loners in the world, but I can be representing them in their own way, so please tell me if it's right for you or for someone who you know that is a loner. When preparing this video, I read a very interesting scientific article that I will link down in the description section, which explains many cool things about introverts. And of course, probably most of loners are introverts. So the article suggests that introverted people are less sensitive to all types of reward in their environment. And it's a very interesting point, right? So in other words, it can be said that loners are not really afraid of life. They are just less dependent on the social rewards that it can offer. When I'm alone, I can hear my inner voice clearly, and I can be as honest with myself as I can, and it's utterly important for me. Many times when I'm around many people who I don't resonate with, I feel like it's not me, but my projection, a hologram or whatever, and it's not satisfying. And I would be worried if this feeling haunted me in every in-person human interaction that I have in my life, but it's not the case, thankfully. There were and there are situations when my spirit is elevated so much, and there are people whose life I'm absolutely proud to be part of. And you know, most of those people are loners too. And another important thing that I wanted to mention is the link between being a loner and being a minimalist. There is a certain similarity here, connection. It's the likeness of mindsets, so to say. When you don't cling onto things and you don't cling onto people and you're happy with what you have, you let others be and you let yourself be in that personal, clutter-free space. We must become so alone, so utterly alone, that we withdraw into our innermost self, and suddenly we find ourselves in the midst of the world, yet undisturbed by its multiplicity. For our innermost soul, we know ourselves to be one with all being. Well, this is it. Thank you so much for watching the video till the end, and let me know what you think about the topic, whether you are a loner, or you have some family member or friend who is a loner, and what's your attitude to that. And if you like the video, you can consider supporting me on the Buy Me a Coffee platform. I will leave the link in the description section. I also made some of my digital collages available there. So, and you enjoy your lovely day, and see you soon, and пока-пока.